I am on the Defend Dillon Brooks Island today, and Antonio Daniels played for 13 years in the NBA. One of the broadcasters, great one for the Pelicans, who had a nice first-round series. Okay, Dillon Brooks isn't a bad guy, but they're the youngest team in the playoffs. They're at home, they're down, and Draymond Green went after one of their guys. So there's a reason that Dillon Brooks did this right out of the gate. He didn't wait to the third or fourth. He said, no. I'm gonna set the tone. You don't do that to my teammates. I'm going after one of yours. And I think intimidation is part of sports. I don't like the result, but he didn't know he was going to bang up somebody's elbow. So what do you think?
Listen, Colin, to say Draymond Green went at one of our guys is different. Because I'll be the first one to tell you, I didn't think Draymond deserved a flagrant 2 for that.
You're done.
Okay? We've all been playing basketball long enough, especially as professional athletes, to know when someone is in a position to be hurt. We know that. You know, it's like an unwritten rule. So when you actually go to the rim or someone else is going to the rim, you know when a guy's out of, okay, let me let that dude go. See, here's the thing, Colin. This is the Draymond Green play, which I didn't think was a flagrant 2. I thought it was a playoff foul. I definitely thought it was a playoff foul. Yeah. Draymond Green's thought process was, I'm going to make sure that Brandon Clarke does not get a layup or a dunk. I have no problem with that whatsoever. He even held him up. So now to come into game 2, 3 minutes in, and say, you know what, how we are going to retaliate. This is a completely different play that you're talking about. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't think Dillon Brooks is a dirty player, but this right here, 100% is a dirty play.
So
regardless of the result.
Where do I have a right to defend my teammates? What can I do? What are my options now after you take out one of my guys that I got to go after your guy?
Okay, when you say take out one of my guys, what does that mean? Brandon Clarke got up and shot 2 free throws. It's not like Brandon Clarke was wheeled off on a stretcher. It's not like he was taken off on a wheelchair. He got up and shot 2 free throws. There are different ways to go about getting your message across. This isn't one of those ways. This is not one of those ways. And again, I will say this. I do not think Dillon Brooks is a dirty player, but anyone that has played the game at this level, this is 100% a dirty play because he wound up, didn't even go after the ball, didn't jump, realized that he couldn't get it. Gary Payton II was vulnerable. He was vulnerable. Anytime a guy takes off like that, he's vulnerable to not make a play on the ball and to swing at him. No, I'm not with that. He's not a dirty player, but that's 100% a dirty play.
Do you think the Warriors will retaliate in Game 3 in the Bay Area?
No.
Would you?
And this is where playoff experience comes into play. This is where playoff experience is a factor to me. You know, you've been there before. If you are Steph Curry, if you're Draymond Green, if you're Klay Thompson, if you're Kevon Looney, if you're Andre Iguodala, you've been in this situation before. This is a conversation that you have in the locker room with Steve Kerr because now you know that whoever the officiating crew is, their antennas will be up. So everything about it will be somewhat heightened. No, you don't retaliate. You know how you retaliate? By going to winning a basketball game. You know, I understand what you're saying about Dillon Brooks wanting to set the tone for his team. There are different ways to go about doing that. I think the tone was set because they won the basketball game. You don't need dirty plays to set the tone. Playing hard, being physical is the way to do it. You saw Boston yesterday set the tone with Milwaukee, with their physicality. It had nothing to do with dirty plays, taking guys out of the air, hitting guys in a vulnerable position. It's just about winning the basketball game. We are not in the 80s, Colin. We got to readjust our goggles.
Yeah, I don't know. They do a lot of 30 for 30s on those 80s series.
Very true.
America seems to love those. I always hear how good the NBA was back in the 80s. I like it now. Everybody loves the 80s. I don't know. All right, how about this one? You know, that whole Zion thing with the Pelicans, I don't know. But I will say, after this playoff series, it was a pretty good series by the Pelicans. And then Zion was asked about it, and he's like, I'd sign a contract in 2 seconds. I almost feel like Brandon Ingram, the Pelicans, it was like a sales job to Zion. Like he looked at it and went, yeah, what am I doing? I better sign a contract. I thought it was such an impressive series by the Pelicans that it kind of made Zion, because let's face it, when you're young, the world's your oyster. You got a lot of money and opportunities. I thought the Pelicans were so good, it was very enticing to be a part of that. to be part of that.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that thought process. We can go all the way back to the last time I was on your show, Colin. Were you on board?
Nope.
Are you on board now?
Yeah. I think I am, yeah.
You know why?
Yeah.
You know why? Because that bandwagon gets heavy. That bandwagon gets heavy. When you start out and you're 3-16, and then you go 33-30 after, Willie Green has done a fantastic job. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with it being a quote-unquote sales pitch to certain players.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. We've seen it. We've seen the narrative change from a national perspective of what was thought of one time as the Pelicans and what's thought of as the Pelicans now. Because you realize with a Brandon Ingram, with a C.J. McCollum, with a Zion Williamson, with a Jonas Valanciunas, and Herb Jones, with Willie Green as your head coach, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. So for Zion to say, you know what, man, this is something I would love to be a part of moving forward. What's the difference between him and any other free agent athlete or an athlete that has an opportunity to sign an extension to stay somewhere? You want to see growth. You want to see an opportunity to win and be relevant. And you know what? Zion saw that. I have no issue with that whatsoever. Him, B.I., C.J. McCollum, with Willie Green at the helm, it's gonna be dangerous, Colin.
Yeah, Herb Jones had a good series too. I think a lot of us went, oh, okay, Herb Jones. No, you were good today. I told you I only wanted 2 topics today. I didn't love Draymond Green flipping the bird. I wasn't a big fan of that. Were you?
Okay, I wasn't. I understand why he did it, but I wasn't a fan of it.
Okay.
I do understand why he did it. Obviously, Draymond Green, when you are in hostile territory, if you're in hostile territory, and what he said after the fact makes sense. What he's saying is, you don't know what my symptoms are. I could have walked off. I could have had a concussion. I could have had my teeth knocked out, whatever it may be. Here's the thing. Everything is twofold. So on one hand, like Kyrie Irving said, we cannot expect players just to completely be docile and take everything that's coming at them.
Yeah.
We can't. We can't do it. And what he said was he did this knowing that he was going to get fined. I tell you where my issue came, though. My issue came with what he said post-game with the fact of the amount of money that he's making. And the reason that's my issue is because of the current financial state of our country.
Yeah.
That's it. We are coming out of a global pandemic where people have lost their jobs, people are furloughed, people are struggling to make ends meet. So if you want to flip off the fans and say, you know what, I'll gladly pay the fine, leave it at that. But when you start throwing the amount of money that you're making into it, when many hardworking Americans are struggling to make ends meet, that's where my problem came.
That was good stuff, Antonio. You were good today. You kind of scolded me for my take, and I'm okay with that. I sometimes I need a mentor in life. You were my mentor in this segment. I appreciate it.
Never that.
Antonio Daniels, Pelicans, Bally Sports, New Orleans. Great seeing you, my man.
My man. Have a blessed day, brother.
All right. He's so good. He usually comes on and yells at me. I'm good. Rosillo's going to be on later. Come and yell at me. I'm good about that. I really am. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.